Welcome into the Tour Coach, everybody. I'm your host, Tony Ruggiero here. Appreciate all of you that follow us, that listen to us, and participate with us. If you're new to this, my name's Tony Ruggiero. I'm a golf coach and teacher down in Palm Beach Gardens area at Old Palm, where I spend a big chunk of my time, where I'm lived in Mobile, Alabama, and have a studio here for a long time, and travel around the South and the country as well, teaching folks on the Live Tour, the PGA Tour, LPGA, Epson Tours, colleges, and so forth, as well as anybody that wants to get better. And these are a collection of my conversations and the stories and the people that I meet on the road or that I teach with, whether they're coaches, players, sometimes students that have interesting stories. All of it is an effort to bring you the people that I find fascinating, that I find have a story, that I find can help all of you improve your golf game or improve your coaching, or just fuel your passion for getting better at the game. So we hope you like the Tour Coach, and if you like it, please do us a favor, like it, subscribe to it, share it, and also want to remind all of you that here at the Dew Sweepers, we've been really making an effort. I know a lot of you have reached out, really made an effort to put out a lot of content. I know the instruction game is changing. There's more and more content. That's where those of you that are passionate about and have a desire to get better at the game go, is to the sources of content. You can always find us on the Dew Sweeper on Instagram, but in particular, our Dew Sweeper TV on YouTube. All you got to do is go to YouTube and type in Dew Sweeper TV. I appreciate the support. Continue to listen to the Tour Coach here. Please like and subscribe and share it as we continue to grow the Dew Sweeper movement, and would encourage all of you to come see us for one of our retreats through the summer or into the fall down at Old Palm Golf Club, or we've got one in August up at Bluebell as well. And come hang out and improve at the game of golf. And now that I'm a tequila man, come hang out afterwards. We'll tape a little podcast, and you can drink an Epic Western with me. There's no better drink I am finding to relax with, chill with, whether it's on the water, on the boat, fishing, or hanging out after a good day on the tee. That's Epic Western. And, of course, as we get ready to head into these conversations that are going to help you with the game of golf, none of this would be possible without the folks at Bushnell, Shrixon, Vineyard Vines, Epic Western, as I just mentioned, and my boy Mitch McConnell and Buick GMC, Taylor Martino and Rowan, and Blaine Stokely. They're the best. They support the Dew Sweeper wherever we go, whether it's on the airwaves here in our content or on the radio. So keep listening here to the Tour Coach, and please like and subscribe us, and we hope you like what you hear. First ever live YouTube. We're just trying this shit out, see how it does. From the condo here in PGA Resort during a Epic Western junior camp. I don't know. Special thanks to Royce and the boys at Epic Western we got some cocktails that Greg and I are on our way down to do some tarpon fishing and film a little stuff about golf and fishing with our good friend Wade Hamilton. Should be fun. Anyways, we got Luke Guthrie, longtime student, great friend, great dude, hell of a run on tours. Since he started working with me, he's plummeted, but he's itching to get back. We've got Will McFadden, who's been a lifelong Dew Sweeper and graduated from Troy University, if that's a thing.
It's still a thing.
Okay, just checking. How about Birmingham Southern closing? You remember that? Like, I almost went to school there. And at one point in time, I actually dated the girl who was their current women's golf coach now when they shut down. That's a trivia question. I think she listens to this too, so we have to edit that. But anyways.
Can't edit the live.
No, we can't edit the live part. We got Dr. Greg Cartin, good friend and just such a huge part of our team. And we got Wayne Flint, Wayno the Drano. Turn around, wave to all your friends back home in Birmingham, Wayne. Debbie's probably sitting out the beach. right? So I thought this would be cool. As I was sitting here having my first glass of wine this evening and an Epic Western, I was thinking of what could we talk about, and I thought it'd be cool. We're obviously we're going to do one with Coop tomorrow night. He's coming from the airport and all that stuff, and we've got some great juniors. But I thought it'd be cool to talk with two guys who are on different ends of the spectrum of where their careers are. You've got a guy who at one point was inside the top 60 in the world, a lot of success on tour, then found struggles. You got a guy who's just out of college, and you guys, with doing all the stuff we do, spend time around each other. thought it'd be kind of cool to just pick their brains and us all kind of talk about two guys. Because, like, I think that's one of the cool things about golf. Like, you don't have too many, I guess you could in the NFL or NBA, but, like, guys that are, the guys are so far different in their spectrum, and you can play golf to a longer age than you can other sports. So I thought it'd be good. So, Luke, tell us about your game. And let me ask you this, and I'm going to make a bold statement here, and that is you have been, since we kind of started, I shouldn't say fooling around together. That sounds awful.
Find another word.
With McFadden over there. And, but anyways, you've had more zest and energy and excitement about playing, I would say, the last 6 months.
That's fair.
Than I've seen you have. Like, we took a break. We always would check on you. We always, when I'd see you, we'd hang out. But, like, that I've seen you in a long time. What has brought about that rejuvenated feeling? Is it just the golf, or is it loving golf? And after all of the ups and downs, how the hell are you still excited about it?
Yeah, there's been ups and downs. You mentioned the top 60 in the world. That was right out of college. I just started playing golf and played really good. And then kind of got struggling. We came together and got playing pretty good in 19. And then not that it was even bad after that. Just wasn't adding up great, and lost my card. And
talk to our people.
Lost my card in, let's see, last 2 years I haven't had a card. So it's just been kind of figuring out, like, building schedules these last 2 years has not been fun. And it's some soul searching. Do I want to do this anymore? And, like, give myself a little timetable. Like, I don't want to be just floating around when I'm 40. I'll find something else to do, kind of thing.
You could always do junior camps for the rest of your life. I mean, you get free Hurricanes wings, couple epic Westerns.
I'm good.
Yeah. And you get to hang out with Coop.
No, you're exactly right. I feel like I'm actually playing proper golf again. I feel like I can go be myself. I know my best golf is good enough. I can win PGA Tour events wherever I am. I can win. And I see the blueprint happening again. I can feel the same feelings. When I strike a golf ball, it's the same thing. It's starting to come out of windows that are familiar. I hit a shot into 18 here at Old Palm today and hit a little trap draw. I like to cut the ball. Hit a little ball back, 5-iron trap draw to the left pin. I'm just like, yes, that's what I used to do. Like, that's a hard shot for me, but I could do it. And just seeing those little mini steps along the way, I know it's there. It's coming.
Well, you mentioned, and you've mentioned this before, and I'd like to go around the table with, you mentioned proper golf. Mm-hmm. And I hear that from tour players a lot, proper golf. What to you is proper golf? Because I don't think a lot of people understand when, like, to them, good golf is hitting some shots, end up on the green, or even juniors. But, like, to you, what's proper golf?
Ball's curving one way. In general, you have your baseline kind of golf shot that you're in control of. And then proper golf, to me, is strong side golf. It's not going short side. I just talked about that shot I hit. It's a left pin. It's a hard shot for me. I like to draw or cut it. But I'm able to start the ball on the fat part of the green and work it in. And I'm not crossing that line. And the cut pins, I'm starting to knock down. And that's more my side. I'm not overcutting them. I'm not overdrawing them when I'm doing it. I'm in the fat part of the green and working towards pins from there. And really, that's a development in the last 4 months. I would just hit my stock shot and just say if it's a left pin, I would just cut it in the middle of the green. Really, there's no hope for that shot to get close. Like, there's probably trouble left. I'm just gonna make sure it curves away from trouble. Now I'm sitting in the fairway today. I can stop this shot. Might not be my favorite one, but I hit the 5 feet and I was like, all right, let's do that.
Let's go to McFadden here. Will, talk about where you are as a player. So you graduated. We've had you on a few times recently, but tell us how you feel about your game. And curious, like, hey, how excited are you? I mean, and look, there's been ups and downs. You missed by a shot or so at Q School for Canada, Latin America. Take us through that and kind of how you process that.
Yeah, I think what Luke just said about proper golf is
loud for our fans.
Extremely interesting because that's something that I've actually gotten to to experience over the last few months as well is I've been a drawer my whole life, and for the last couple of years I've really struggled finding that proper draw, and over the last few months it's kind of started to come back, and showed up a little bit at Q School for about 63 holes, and which at Q School unfortunately you got to play 72, so so that was a tough pill to swallow. But that was another thing. First Q School, it was extremely exciting to be out there. It's a completely different feeling than any other tournament I've played in on the other mini tours. There was no purse at the end of the week. You're playing for spots, and it was very nerve-wracking, but I had a ton of fun out there doing it. So I look forward to the next few months getting ready for Corn Ferry Q School.
Doc, you've worked with a bunch of athletes, all different stages of their career. When you watch guys at these two different stages, like when you watch a guy at Luke, been doing it for a while, ups and downs, what advice do you give them, and what impresses you? Or, yeah, I guess you could be unimpressed with anything they've said too. But like when when you look at like Luke's energized and reinvigoration to me has very much impressed me for him at his stage of his career, and so that's just kind of fascinated me a little bit.
And they're very different, obviously, in where they are, but also fighting the same battle.
Right.
So I see guys who struggle the most, whether it's at your point in your career or your point in your career, is they have this lingering fear of the time's running out. Like, I got to make something happen in the next couple of years, or what am I doing? Or I've done this for a long time. I'm hanging on. I'm feeling good, but when's it time to stop? And that causes a lot of concern for guys. And I feel like the ones that are able to put that aside for as long as they can, just the thought of when it's supposed to be done, and just say, hey, all I got right now is tomorrow. Let's see how tomorrow goes. Let's see how the next day goes, are the ones that
That's good.
do pretty well.
That was worth buying you chicken wings for.
Thanks for the wings tonight. Yeah. The difference is,
You tell me anybody else in the golf industry that's bought $900 worth of wings in 2 nights.
That's a lot of
I wasn't here last night. Wow. I missed the big night, I guess.
Thank God.
And then the other challenge is Luke has seen it before, and then it went somewhere, right? You struggled for a little bit. But still, the passion, I was going to say the same thing, the passion, the love for the game. The fact that you're out here today playing with these kids and really having a good time, to me says things are going to work out just fine. Because it's that enjoyment that really, it's not, hey, when you get your card back, then you'll be happy. It's, you're happy now. And maybe good things will come.
We're going to go to Wayne in a second, but I want to direct this towards you. And you said somewhere within the last 24 hours, you said, I thanked you for coming to do this. I think it was last night when you came in and I couldn't find either of my cubes for my phone because I may have had too much string. But
eventually found both.
we eventually found 2 of them. I didn't even know I had a second one here. +1 on the cubes. But I thanked you for coming and how much it means. And you said, this is great for me in my game too. What did you mean by that? And why is, because I thought like too, Lucas, when he came and did this some with us a couple times, he did phenomenal with the kids. And I always thought it was good for him. I think it's good for you. What is it good for you? How does it help you coming and giving back and being around people and doing this?
It's just fun to give back on it. Just on a personal level, I remember my age group, or when I was that age, and like I would have done anything to be in this situation, just learning, and I would have been so quiet when I asked one question, but I would have just been soaking up every second. So just being able to give back, first of all, but for me, selfishly as a player, like verbalizing to these kids, like how you hit a bunker shot today, and it's like, it's easy. I know how to do it. You realize how much knowledge you have in the game, and you can just be like, okay. Like one of the juniors I was playing with today was kind of struggling, and he asked a great question. And then he's like, so what do you think of my game? Like, what do I need to do? And I was like, number one, ball has to curve one way. Like, you can't be having it go both ways. It's just going to be miserable if you do this. Like, and you got to make everything inside 6 feet. And then really everything else, you just progressively try to get better. And those are like the non-negotiables, and just do that. And it'll be fun.
Let's just recap that, because this is good. Luke's non-negotiables to getting better. 1, ball's got to curve one way.
Yeah.
For you, it's fade. You, it's a draw, right? What was 2?
You take care of everything inside 6 feet, and you can extend that to 8 feet, but like really any day, make 6-footers and in.
So everybody's got to make 6-footers and in.
Yep. And then, I mean, obviously you want a good short game, and you want to hit the proper shots. You want to hit great irons, and sure, you need to be a great wedger, but the ball needs to be in play. And if the ball's curving one way, these fairways are huge if it's curving one way. They get really small if it starts curving both ways.
Wayne, you've watched a bunch of tons of great players over your years. What are some of the non-negotiables or the differences that you've seen between players that make it and those players that don't? And when you see players and you see guys on the borderline, on the cusp, what are the things you look at that you think determines that? And I'm going to call Coop and Uber.
Well, I think Luke is right on with the non-negotiables. I mean, in order to make it or get to where you want to get to, you have to have a passion for the game, which both these guys do still, and just beginning, well, not beginning, but beginning your professional career. So you have to have a passion for it, and that's what's exciting to see Luke having passion to go out there and play and have fun playing golf with the kids, and have fun, looking at himself and realizing, hey, I really do know a lot about this game, and make him rethink of what his game is really all about, and make him more aware of how good he really is. So the trust and all the great stuff that goes along with playing great can come back to him, and he can find his way. The non-negotiables, you got to put the ball in play. I mean, so it's got to move one way or the other, but it can't go both ways. And then inside 6 or 8 feet, if you can be great at that, it's kind of hard to screw the rest of it up bad enough to not be able to play good. We went out and watched a bunch of the golf today, and we talked on one hole about they were 30-40 yards in, and they'd all hit good tee shots, and they were all in play, but they were 30-40 yards in, and the next thing you know, there was a whole bunch of missed greens and a whole bunch of 10, 12, 15 footers trying to make par, and that just doesn't last too long. You've got to be able to put it in play. You've got to be able to manage yourself and get it on the green, and then you got to be great from 6-8 feet in. And I think we talked for just a second, Luke and I said, they probably just don't spend hardly any time at that part of the game. They just don't put a lot of effort into that, and they make 4, 5, 6 footers on the practice green, and they think, oh hell, I got it, I'm good at this. And you got to make them all. You got to make them all, and you got to make them every day. So that's what I see. The ones that are great are putting the ball in play. They're pretty good from there in, but then once they get inside 6-8 feet, they're great.
Doc, you've been around a lot of great players, but obviously you've seen the golf stuff that we see, Wayne and I and Luke and Will, but from a mental perspective. So I'm sure all players are cut different and all that, but from the ones that are able to bounce back and have success, or the ones coming out of school and then have success, what are the things that you see, the commonalities of the people that are successful in these situations? And you kind of touched on it a hair, but go ahead. Have another Epic Western, by the way. They're sponsoring the Tour Coach. I don't know if y'all know this, but go have you an Epic Western. That's a good. Yeah.
The one thing that I see that's common amongst guys that make it and have long, successful careers, and the ones that don't, are the ones that are patient. And we talked about time a little bit before, but I think patience is a belief that you're doing the right things even when you're not getting the results that you want.
Wow.
Right? And that's
deep.
Well, but that's what it takes, because this is a weird game. You could be doing everything right, and not seeing any results. And if you abandon what you're doing and try the next greatest thing, or switch coaches, whatever it may be, because you're not seeing the results, but even though you had that belief, those guys disappear, right? You've gone down a search before, right?
You've gone down a couple black holes.
But everyone does. But it's the ones that are patient, and that's what I mean by patience. Knowing a belief that you're doing the right stuff, even when you don't see results. And that, there's nothing like golf when it comes to that.
We're going to talk to Will, you in 1 second, and then Will. But I was going to relay the story at the PGA, and I may have said this, but we played 2 holes with Scotty Scheffler, right? And then we got rained out, actually a hole and a half. I told Wayne this, I think today, and I told Hackett, and I said, so Randy Smith is his longtime coach, which I think says a lot. He's had the same guy since he's a kid. And Randy and I were walking, and I was like, what the hell are you been telling this guy, right? And anyways, whatever. And he said, boil it down, he said, I really haven't told him anything new in 3 years. And he went over, the 2 things he's doing. One of them is the grip and, whatever. But, here's the guy that everybody would say is the best player in the world. What's all that noise? Is that fireworks? That's fireworks. We got fireworks going on.
That's fireworks.
That or we're under attack. But either way, this could be the last tour, Coach. but anyways.
Or locked.
But I think that echoes what you said. Right. Now, what were you going to say, or did I totally interrupt you and change?
The fireworks is getting me a bit right now. No, you were talking about patience, and even when you're not seeing it, I've had some dark moments in my career, meaning just playing really poor golf, especially when I know I've seen what I'm capable of, and it's incredibly frustrating when you can't realize that.
I think especially when you've been a top 60 player in the world, I think that's even more different than a guy that's gone out and gotten a card and bounced off. I think that's a little different.
Yeah, well, this is where they differ. Will hasn't seen it yet, so he doesn't know. You already saw it, and you don't have it now, and you don't know. That's, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're 2 different. They're just struggling with the same thing, but from 2 different perspectives.
I remember a dark moment, it was during, right around COVID. Was it COVID? I don't know. I was in San Antonio playing Corn Ferry, and I just couldn't find the golf ball. It was just done.
Was that during my tenure?
I don't think so. Okay. I think it was before. But I remember I have an amazing wife who's also a good player too. And I had my then 1-year-old there, and went to the water parks right there, and just life's great, but golf life was awful.
That was after me.
Yeah,
because you remember the trip you found out you were pregnant? Not you, her. Was when you were at my house.
That's right.
Driving back.
That's right. I got back at 3 a.m, and there's pink and blue lights all over my house from Mobile. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Mm-hmm. That's why we're still hanging out.
That's right.
I probably caused the birth of his child. That's what you call the dew sweeper advantage.
No, but it was just it was a tough
That's
week.
Part of our premium package.
But lost ball both ways, and I had to go in both ways, and it's elevated tees, windy, and I'm just I don't know how to do this right now, but I know I can. But as soon as I was 30 minutes away from a round, I'm I know I can do this. But to have the patience to go back out the next day and just that was hard. It was hard, but I think it was helpful that I've seen it before. Yeah. If I hadn't seen it, I don't know if I'd be playing right now, necessarily. But
sometimes it's harder when you've seen it and you don't know where it is, right? And what the hell? What's happened?
I think that's actually. I don't know, but I think that's. And as a coach, I think that's one of the more frustrating things when you've gotten a player or watched a player get to a point where it's really, really good. Mm-hmm. I can say that from experience with Smiley. I could say that from experience a little bit with Lucas, but different guys, Andy, where you see it, and the difference between you talking about the non-negotiables, and you're talking about learning coming up, and Wayne's talking about the difference isn't much.
No,
it's not very much. And it isn't. I don't give a shit what any of these teachers say. Most of it isn't something that's that noticeable on a video camera or a strap-on 3D thing, right? I mean, shouldn't use the word strap-on probably either, but I mean, like, you know, I mean, and I think that's the thing, or that you've got those non-negotiables, but like the differences aren't that much, right? It's a fine line. To you?
Yeah, I mean, it's the interesting thing for what I've been doing over the last few months, for the last year since I turned pro, is like I'm playing with a lot of the guys that I really looked up to in college, and like guys that I thought in college like were unbeatable, and like I'd see them at a tournament and I'd be like, well, there's one guy that's going to beat me this week, you know. And playing out there, it's felt like since I've turned pro, like playing with them, that we're on a more even playing field. And it's like I realized that as long as I take care of what I need to take care of, like I'm capable of playing some pretty good golf as well. And some of those guys that I've been watching for years have become good friends of mine, and I've enjoyed learning from them. And I think there's always something to be said for that, being able to look up to those guys, but then also realize that we're doing the same thing, you know. And I think that's really helped me a lot over the last year.
I've always thought, since we've been doing these weekends where we combine juniors and we bring you guys and folks in, it's not just you with the kids, but watching like two guys like you. Like I've really enjoyed in my teaching career, and I've told you this a bunch of times, I've loved watching, like now you're a little older. When you first were coming around, you were the middle guy, right? You weren't the older guy, right? You'd had some success. But like, you know, like I watched you around the guys like Bill Haas and Lucas, and you know, now you're a little bit older, and these guys are, yeah. I mean, when we put, you and Bill in a cart together, if we would have put seatbelts on them, they'd have driven the cart in the water and bubbles be coming out. It's the truth. No, but anyways, I think that's a cool thing. What have you gotten? If anything, and you can be honest, you could say Luke didn't teach me shit. Like, but like, what have you gotten from like coming down some and being around like guys like Luke? What have you taken and applied that to your game, and has it helped you any as you moving forward?
Oh wow! I mean, coming down here and being around guys like Luke and Lucas and Andy and Robbie and you know all those guys, it's just been. I mean, it's one of the biggest reasons why I'm still playing golf. Like. All those guys are such good guys, and they're willing to help out, and there's always something to learn from them. And I mean, some of the most important things that I've learned through my golf career is just from playing with those guys. Like obviously we've done good work in the gym and on the swing and that, but I think the most important thing is talking to good players and being around good players and hearing how they play. Like today after the round, Luke and I just stood there and kind of talked about different shots and different pins out there. And it was just super interesting to sit there and talk to him and hear the way that he played some shots or how I played some shots, and like just kind of comparing and contrasting how we went about the day to day. And I think that's some of the most important things that I get out of coming down here and being around these guys. It's just the little side conversations where it may not seem like much, but I'll remember it in 2 or 3 months when I'm at a tournament or something, and it'll remind me of something that just clicks, you know?
That's the great thing about golfers, I think. You know, and just the game in general. You know, I think the game lends to that, and you know, it's a gentleman's game and all the stuff that we've heard, you know, our whole careers growing up. And I think that's the great thing about golf in general is golfers are willing to share secrets and share feelings and share strategies and share things that may have helped them, or hey, watch me hit this short game shot that I learned from someone. And you know, they're willing to share that because. And I think I think all great players know how hard the game is, and I think they're all willing to share with whoever's a golfer.
And look, this is not a live versus PGA Tour deal, but one thing that I think has been incredibly cool is that team atmosphere out there is different, right? And and I've watched it with. You know, Andy's on Phil Mickelson's team. I've watched how, Cam Tringali and Brendan Steele have been supportive and tried to help him, and then even more importantly, watching Mickelson and taking the time and going a step beyond that, like Phil asking or saying like, hey, I don't want, we don't want to overstep. Like, what's our best way to help Andy? Yeah. Right. And like, to me, that's different because on tour, I don't think you see that as much once you get to tour because everybody's, you're just trying to save your own. It's a grind.
It's a little more.
Yeah, it's a different deal, right? So I thought that's interesting, but I thought like Live is a little bit of a giant version of what you have here.
Well, that was the cool thing, Tony, that when you started this school a long time ago, it was neat. I mean, and we still see it today. I mean, the kids don't see each other from year to year, but they walk in Hurricanes tonight or last night. They see each other and they all plop down at the same table, and they're sharing their Instagram and their Snapchats and all the stuff with the new kids on the block. And everybody's in the game together. Everybody's pulling for each other, and we've seen that now for a number of years. Mm-hmm. And everybody's still pulling for everybody. Everyone's pulling for Will because he's part of the team. Everybody wants the dew sweepers to do good, and it's really cool to see year after year. As the kids grow up,
go grab me one of my T-shirts
and become adults. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
Oh, sure.
You talked about all the stuff that you learned from these guys.
Look, if you're out there and you want to be a dew sweeper, you can get a Dew Sweepers Vineyard Vines custom T-shirt. These are. This nice. Is the real deal. Just wanted to throw that out there. DM us. All right, go ahead. Slip into our DMs.
So you talked about like learning
Greg's
about different shots and everything about like what it's like to be out there. Was it ever comforting to hear from these guys how much they struggle also? Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like they're not above.
Pick me one of those and hand me one. I'm doing Epic Western. Right?
And I think that may be,
crispy,
from my perspective, the most important thing that young golfers can learn.
You ought to try this.
You done yet here? Come on.
It helps you putt. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Come on.
I'm trying to sell Epic Westerns.
From my perspective, the most important thing maybe a guy like you can learn is that these guys struggle too. Mm-hmm. It's hard out there, right?
It's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. And if you can find comfort in the fact that it's not easy. And some of these guys make it look easy, but they all struggle at some point. With something.
Absolutely.
Just when we think you got it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think over the years, some of the, obviously been around Tony a long time with him being in Mobile and all over the place, and like some of the most important things that I've learned through golf is just from watching, like not even hitting any shots or any of that, just watching him give Andy or Smiley or Luke or somebody a lesson and hearing what they're working on and realizing that it's pretty close to the same thing that I'm working on, just at a different level, And I think that always does bring a little bit of comfort, You don't ever want to watch anybody struggle, but
no, of course not. But you do realize that this is a common theme amongst people that play golf, because people assume they look at these guys on tour and think, that's not what I do. These guys do something different. They play, and it's easy and it's fun, but that's not what I do. But it's not.
Absolutely.
It's a grind.
Yeah,
it's a grind.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff, guys. This was fun. We got to do this again more. We're going to do one tomorrow night with Coop. Doc, you got anything else to throw in? Slip into Doc's DMs. You get a free Vineyard Vines T-shirt, or we'll sell it to you anyways. And
free for $19.99.
And if you can bring us an Epic Western, Willie, keep doing all the stuff you're doing. It's been fun watching you grow. Luke, thanks for being part of this too. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed having you coming back, hanging out, and I think we got Coop in an Uber, which is, he just told him to chill and hang out on. He was coming. So, Wayno, thanks again for coming down this weekend. Always have fun. It was awesome in the Bay with you today. We did some good stuff. We'll have fun the rest of the weekend. Tomorrow night, we're going to do another one of these as well, but we'll have some fun.